Yeah, it's such a great question. I want to point out one thing you said. This is so beautiful, but I think you're exactly right. When people look at business owners from the outside, most people see the flashy trucks or whatever it looks like, and they're
Mhm.
like, man, they are killing it in business. But there's a phrase that I'm just going to like take to my grave with me, which is revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, cash is king, right? It's a common phrase. A lot of people have heard that.
Yeah.
But it's such a reality because people love to throw around the revenue number because
Yep.
it's the highest number.
Welcome to the Sharpen the Spear podcast, where we help home service pros cut through the noise, sharpen their business tools, and reclaim the profit, freedom, and impact they've been missing. I'm your host, Richard Walsh, Profit Freedom Coach, and I'm here to help you stop grinding and start growing. Let's sharpen the spear. And we are back on STS, Sharpen the Spear podcast, with another incredible guest. I've got Austin McMillan in the house. And Austin, it's a tradition. No one knows Austin better than Austin. So, Austin, give us that backstory, bring us up to speed, because we're going to have an amazing conversation. And I can't wait to get to it.
I love it, Richard. I'm fired up to be here and have a chat with you. So, yeah, quick backstory. Born and raised in Alabama, live in Birmingham currently. My wife, we just had our first little girl. She was born in October, so she's 10 months now. And dad life is the best life. I love it to death. And it's just one of the greatest gifts on the planet. So we're just full in that world right now, loving it. And yeah, so I kind of tell people I have to dive into the deep end to know if I like doing something or don't like doing something. I think that's kind of the way the Lord kind of shows me what you're good at, what you're not good at. And so I've had a lot of different experiences like that over the past probably 10 to 15 years or so. So in different seasons of my life, worked for a landscape company on the acquisition side. We're owned by an investment group, and we were buying a bunch of mom and pop landscape companies to kind of grow through the Southeastern territory. And then from there, traded options in the stock market for a few years, realized that I didn't like doing that. I'm an extrovert and want to be around people building a team. And so had to learn the hard way doing that. And then that kind of brought me into really diving into this accounting world, and not an accountant by education, but accountant by fire, basically, and have really fallen in love with that world, trying to serve business owners. And so I really tried to serve the vision of a good friend of mine that started the company, and ended up buying that company in May of 2023, rebranded to Flywheel Financial. And that's kind of how we are here today. So we're a little over 2 years old now under Flywheel Financial, and trying to serve as many business owners as we can.
That's awesome. And congrats on the child. I have 6. Those are great
I love
years. I have a granddaughter who's a year and a half old now, and that's really cool. So enjoy it. It does go fast, but man, I'm glad, just for the record, I have a granddaughter, because I was really busy those first few years. We had 6 in like 3.5 years,
Oh my
It
gosh,
was
Richard.
crazy. So like I'm seeing her going, oh, I missed all that. Okay, like, so it's really cool. It's like it's a second chance. So if you get time, man, just the little kids do some cool stuff. So that's really awesome. But
That's
let's jump into, you got Flywheel Financial. You're helping businesses. Let's kind of break it down, okay? Because that's a broad term. That's a big umbrella. I help businesses too. Okay,
yeah.
I do a lot of different things, right? So let's get into the kind of the specifics on what you're doing for them, because that's what really interests me, in
Yeah.
specifically what you do. So let's talk about that a bit.
I love it, Richard. Yeah. So I kind of realized early on, for any business owner or someone starting their own business, a lot of them hate accounting and hate numbers and hate dealing with the financial side of their business, right? That so many people get into it because they're really good at a craft or a skill, and they dive in. They're like, I'm just should just do this for myself, right? And so they get into this business world, but then they're like, how do you even read a P&L? Why should I care about a P&L? Like, what does this look like? How do I even manage cash flow? All those things. So really, we just saw a pain point in the market and said, hey, look, let us try to be your accounting department for you, do a full service kind of uh, do everything for you from the financial side. So then you can focus on growing the business, building the team to support that growth, and really stay in the lane that you got into business originally to go do, in kind of your unique ability, if you will. And so really we just try to take that pain point away, but not necessarily, like, it is a pain point for a lot of people. But more than that, we try to partner with them to say, like, how do we make your business into a winnable game? Because you know this, like, a scoreboard of any business is the true financials of that business. And so when you look at the financials, it will dictate the health, the direction where you're going. And if you ever want to sell one day, that's 100% what matters about your business. And so we try to let people kind of like understand the gravity of that and then let us handle that for them to get them on a path for success in business. So it's a lot of fun. And we handle a lot of different things in there. I'm happy to go into details of exactly what we do, but we try to be that financial partner in their life.
Yeah, and I think what's important about that, Austin, is what we don't get. And I talk about this often. I did what I did my first 20 years, right? I could build great things and sculptures and water features and made a ton of money. And I thought that's what business was.
Yep.
Do great things and make lots of money.
Yeah.
Like there's only two things you got to do, those two things.
Yeah.
And it's not the only two things there is to do, right? So my thing is like when you bring in someone like you, right? And I'm air quoting handle the financials. When you're working with people, it's what I never did was I never had any vision on what to do with the money.
Yeah.
I just thought the goal was to make more.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I thought, and spend it and buy things for cash.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I was a good steward.
Yeah.
Okay? Which means I was a terrible steward. Okay. So people out there have a lot of different ideas on what good financial stewardship is. Yeah, people might have looked from the outside and thought I was doing good, but I did things and I wasn't, how do I put it? And you've probably seen this a lot. It's not like I didn't have any vices. I wasn't gambling, I'm not drinking and smoking. I'm working. I'm building great things and I'm just banking money, but I'm buying like equipment. Ooh,
Yep.
look at that. Shiny. It's big. I want that. I'll pay cash for it. Lots of cash. And that was, that's the beginning of the stupid thing, right? Now I
Yeah.
had great clients who were always giving me free advice, way better off than I was, way more successful, way smarter than I was. But the reality is I didn't listen. And I always at all. I didn't
I'm
listen
all
at
in the
all.
same boat, Richard.
Right. So let's talk about that because when you get in there and you get someone, because there's an element here, Austin, that I want to address, and that's trust.
Mhm.
Okay, you're talking about, well, do your financials. Okay, well, that sounds great on the podcast. Okay, but we're talking about like, well, that's my money.
Yeah.
You're gonna take care of my money. It's like, hey, buddy, come here. Could you hold on to this 100 grand for me just for a little while? I'll be right
Yeah.
back. Okay, like you know what I mean. So let's talk about how you kind of establish that. How does that come to be?
Yeah. It's such a great question. I want to point out one thing you said. This is so beautiful, but I think you're exactly right. When people look at business owners from the outside, most people see the flashy trucks or whatever it looks like, and they're like, man, they are killing it in business. But there's a phrase that I'm just going to like take to my grave with me, which is revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, cash is king, right? It's a common phrase. A lot of people have heard that.
Yeah.
But it's such a reality because people love to throw around the revenue number because
Yep.
it's the highest number. That's the top line on their P&L. And they're like, man, look what we're doing. Who cares if I'm making less than probably if I were to go to work at W-2 right out of college? Look at my revenue number. And that's what we try to help people with is that like revenue
Yeah.
means nothing if you're not profiting anything. You might
Yeah.
as well go get a W-2 job because it's way less risk, way less stress, and you're working less hours. And
Yeah.
for us, that's why we have a whole company is to try to really show people like, listen, there's no reason you should be in business if your profit is zero and you're losing money every year, right?
Yeah.
So we try to help people go to that. Sorry, you can make a
No,
comment.
no, that's all. I'd say my little saying is revenue feeds the ego, profit feeds the family.
Love it.
Okay. That changed me a long time ago. Someone told me that. I'm like, that scorecard, that revenue, that gross revenue scorecard is a really bad measuring tool.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Really bad. I'm about real net profit.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, and we focus on that when I work with my clients as well, because if you can't, I want to say kind of, but there is no success because
Yep.
then eventually you're either going to shut down or sell.
That's exactly right.
Okay. And if you're focused only on revenue and not profit, you're not going to hand it down to your kids because they want nothing to do with it.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want that hot mess. You're never here. You're working all the time. You don't make any money. We got nothing. You haven't bought a new car in 12 years. You know what I mean? So it's like, so it's like you gotta think about this. And that's why I wanted to talk to you too, because it's not easy to find someone who does what you do. Okay, like there's CPAs and there's tax strategists and these individual, these specialists, if you will, right? But no one's really helping you with kind of the big picture and how to manage just like from a business standpoint. Like I said, P&Ls took me, I didn't know how to read them for 20 years.
Yeah.
Okay, like who cares? I just make more.
Yeah, exactly.
I just went to my wife, said, "What do you need?" Say, "Well, can we get 5 grand by Friday?" Sure, I'll go get that. And I go make 5 grand by Friday. I'm like, whatever you need, I'll go make it. It just seemed to be, maybe she should start telling me again to go make it. But so I just want to dive into that because I think it's an awesome strategy if you can employ that. The sooner the better.
Yeah.
Like in your business, right? Like
100%.
what do you think on people? So I'm starting up. Okay, I'm this month one. Okay, where do you want to see you come in? Where's
Yeah.
your preferred place? Because I know it could be two different places, but I
Yep.
want to hear it from you.
Yeah, so we actually have two programs for that reason. So, like, if you're in startup mode, just starting out, barely any revenue, you're just trying to build something up from scratch, we actually have like an 8-week program that we try to help you build a foundation as a owner slash CEO of your business. Because I don't care how not numbers minded you are, you need some kind of foundation because it is the scoreboard of your business. So you need some kind of reference to gauge, right? And the reality is, Richard, just like you mentioned, like so many business, this is extremely like the majority of small business owners in America are doing the living the life of the 20 years that you lived, right? It's like, I don't care about a P&L. I just got to go make more money and make more money, right? And they're making decisions off the amount they see in their bank account. And they're trying to just change it, right? So for us, we have this program where we say, like, I will work with you one-on-one to help you establish a foundation. And so going back to your point, if you're starting out tomorrow, we have a whole process where you walk through. But the first thing I would tell you is set up multiple bank accounts, not just one.
Mm-hmm.
And it forces you from day one to prioritize profit. And every time money comes in, you immediately push money based on a percentage that you pre-decided that you're going to force into profit. It also forces you to put tax money aside. There's a book called Profit First. It's a very
Yep.
similar model to this.
Mike Miklowitz.
That's right. That's it. Good for you for being able to pronounce his last
Yeah.
name.
I practiced for hours.
Yeah. But so that's version one, right? It's an easy thing. Call your banker as you're getting those accounts started and just go ahead and set up multiple rather than one, because that's an easy mistake that most people made to run. I mean, there's people running multi-million dollar business off one bank account. And it just makes it easier from day one to start doing that. So you do that. And then we have a whole section. I'm happy to go into detail of what we would walk through, but we walk through like a profitability audit where we actually say, like, okay, what are you planning on selling? Where are the margins going to come from? Have you pre-decided what margins you do want to make? And then how do you price your stuff based on that? So we get into a whole pricing discussion based off that. And then we get into the whole process of like even thinking through based on cash, based on margins, how do you hire in the future? What does that look like as you continue to grow? So like, hey, how do I like project out based on this is how much revenue we need to justify the next employee and all the things, right? So that's a whole program that we walk through for each of these different owners as you're getting started. And
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
so that's the first one. Well, I'm happy to go to the second one, but I'm happy to dive into details.
So the first one, what people don't get, it's called Parkinson's law, right?
Yep.
It's if your money doesn't have a place to go, a predetermined place to go, it will evaporate.
Yep.
We talk about it often here. And like I give the simplest example. I come up to Austin. Austin, you're a good dude, man. I just want to give you this $100. You go, oh, thanks, Richard, man. You're a good dude, man. Put it in your pocket. 3 days later, didn't have $100. Oh, you took your daughter out, you took your wife out, took about had this, bought lunch, it's gone. You have no idea where it went, right? So worthless. Okay, don't even remember who gave it to you.
That's right.
Okay? So it's like that's Parkinson's law in action.
Yep.
Right. It just evaporates. So it's really important. These multiple accounts, what here's tax, here's operating, here's blah blah, right? You got the whole thing. And it's really important. Most people don't do that.
Yeah.
Because they're so broke in startup mode, and I mean this in a loving way. Okay, they're not going to pay the fees on 4 accounts.
Yeah.
They're not going to pay the $10 a month.
Well, Richard,
4 accounts or whatever.
Well, here's the beauty. These banks don't charge these fees anymore. Like my bank doesn't charge anything. And then you can have a zero balance in there. I'm getting no charge on it. So we're in a day and age now where there's no excuse, right? It's literally a phone call to your banker to say, this is what I need. And if the banker's charging you fees, just jump ship and go to another bank. It's not.
Yeah, very true.
It's beauty.
Yeah, very true. But yeah, that startup phase is rough. And anyone who's about to get into it, I help startups from a mentoring standpoint, not from a coaching standpoint.
Cool.
Okay, because mentoring is free. Because you're probably not going to do anything I tell you, or you can't. Okay. And I always tell people, here's the problem, because they wonder why I won't like coach them. I said, well, you don't have any time in the game. You have an idea. You don't have any scars. You got to get punched in the face a few times. You got to lose some
Very
money.
true.
You got to
Yep.
make some costly mistakes, man, bad decisions. I go, once you do all that, you'll have a greater appreciation for what I can do for you. Okay.
Yep.
Till that point, I can't. You're just going to do what you do. So it's difficult. So I like that 8-week program of yours, because someone can do that short time period, right? And they can
That's right.
put those things in place. And it really is a good foundational way to get started. So I just want to encourage people, if you're in that start phase, first year, whatever it is, like you got to separate business from personal, and inside the business, separate the
That's
business
right.
from the, and it's just, it sounds so obvious, but like you said, no one's doing it,
Yeah, that's right.
you know?
And so, Richard, our goal for that whole program is just to build a rhythm that wins in your business, right? Anything when you compound over time, you have to have a rhythm of doing things. And so, like, we try to make it as easy as possible so that you are paying attention to the critical things in a rhythm of your business. So you just know that twice a month you're going to make these transfers based on this specific day of the month to push that money aside. You're not having to check it every day or restructure your whole schedule, but you're just trying to say, like, okay, if I know this is the winnable game that I need to build, then what's the rhythm and the consistency that I need to do those things in? And we try to help you build that foundation so the rhythm's in place in your business from day one.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that rhythm is that's a good description of it. You really do. I try to help my clients too. Like, listen, every third Wednesday you do payables. Simple.
Yep,
That's what the third Wednesday of it comes every month.
that's right.
There's a third Wednesday in every single month. So you can always do payables,
Yep,
same thing, so it's like those rhythms really matter, because now
100%.
you can forecast, right? You can
That's
predict,
exactly right.
you understand, when payroll is, I guarantee you.
Yep.
Okay. When it comes, and so does everyone who works for you. Okay. They know. Okay. And you need to get paid as well as everybody else. So
Yeah,
it's good to have those things in place. I love it. So
that's right.
what's the second phase? This is probably for the more established business, I'm sure.
Yeah, so once you're about a little over, once again, I go back to revenue because it's probably the easiest way to gauge early
Mhm.
on in business. But once you're about 700, 750 in revenue, where you start having, a couple team members and what that looks like for you, that's when we ultimately start being a good fit for you to be your full-fledged accounting department, right? So we're gonna establish your QuickBooks Online account. We're gonna handle all the softwares that are feeding that information in. We're gonna basically do all of the admin accounting work for you, so it literally takes your eye off of that and you can go focus on growth or whatever you're trying to get to in business as the owner. So we have a whole team of people that are operating on your behalf, handling 100% of all of the bookkeeping, bill pay, payroll, all of those things to make sure all that's executed extremely well. And what I love about it is that it allows us to know that the numbers are accurate when we present those to you on a monthly or whatever cadence we agree with you on. Just say, like, okay, we know they're accurate because our team handle it. We're not dependent on somebody else hired or anything like that. We have standards that we live by in our business. And so I have full control over being able to know that that data is accurate. And then we can deliver on it based on that platform of wherever you're looking at to go grow the business, right? And so we handle obviously all the admin and accounting. And then what I love about that world is I work with our team and I work with the owners to say, like, okay, where are you going over the next 10 years? Like, do you want to sell in 10 years, or what, you want to hold it forever and give it to your kids? Or like, what are your long-term goals? And then we're always tying out what we're doing on a daily basis into, okay, is he on track or off track for the goals that he predetermined and told us of where he's going in the business? And we show him, like, here's where you're lacking, here's where you're doing well, to try to do from a financial standpoint to align with those goals that you're headed. So that's when we get into the actual, like, advising piece, basically off of not just doing the P&L on the balance sheets, but we're producing custom metrics based on things that actually move the needle in his business to align with his long-term goals.
Yeah, I think, we do this a lot. I do this with all my clients. Austin, you'll appreciate this. And we like to begin with exit strategy.
Yeah, it's great.
Like, talk about the new people. Best time is before you launch your business.
Yep.
And it's simple. How long, how much?
Yep.
How long you want to do this for and how much you want to get out, right? Let's do that. Then we reverse engineer, because you were talking about, when do you put your first people on? When can you hire someone? When's that economically feasible? What's the target? But if you don't know where you're going, I know we're stating the obvious here, but a lot of people kind of don't think this way because they're busy building a new business.
That's right. That's
and
exactly
it's a ton of work and you wear a lot of hats and you got to do all this stuff. But if you have the plan, And then you come in, whether it's in that first 8 week program where you're a little more established, you're at that 750 mark, you're approaching that, that illustrious, seven figures.
Yeah.
Okay. Like you have to know where you're going because there's a number of things. There's distractions and known as opportunities that people are going to dangle in front of you. Like you should do this, and someone to come up.
100%.
Right, do my multi-level marketing here and go sell tea to some essential oils or something, whatever. But you're just totally thrown off the whack, right? So it's like, no, I'm focused. I'm doing the main thing. I got to stay on track. If it gets me closer and faster to my exit strategy, I'm in. If
Yeah.
it detracts, it's a hard no, right? So we keep it really simple. But this way you can plan because what I always run through with people, Austin, is okay, great. I want to get out. I want a $10 million exit strategy. This is going to be great. I'm going to do whatever, 30 million a year. And this is wonderful. Okay. But I'm also going to be making some money while I'm doing that. Let's say I'm at a 7-figure income now. And now I hit the exit point, and let's say I do get my 10 million. Maybe I'm really negotiate well and I get 10.5. I don't know. But you get out, but what do you lose? The million a year in the income. So if I'm smart and I've reverse engineered, I'm creating assets, income generating assets during that time to replace that million. That's where you guys come in too, right? We have to start, not saying you're picking our asses, but like we have to understand, I have to create $83,000 a month of passive income.
Yep.
Okay. That's not buy a house.
That's right.
It's like, okay, we got to have a real plan, right? That money has to go somewhere, but you can do it because you can take that active business income and really have it work for you if you're planning.
100%. Yep. So this is some of my favorite things to talk about because one of those accounts that we're setting up day one with you, we call it investment holdings account. So that is the money that the business has generated that is no longer needed in the business to operate, that you've already paid your family your fair market value and what you need to survive off of, that has the money allocated that's post-tax, that you can now start investing in assets that's going to build long-term wealth for you. Right. And so that's part of that playbook of saying like, okay, do you have that investment holding account? And we have a whole system as you're transferring money into the buckets, right? The budgeting system, a portion of that, once you build up safety nets and all the different things in this program, gets pushed into that. And now all of a sudden you have this money that does not ever need to go back into the business, that you can start generating those things from. And there's all kinds of, like, one of the most recent deep dives I've been doing, Richard, and I'm trying to learn this just on behalf of our clients to provide even greater value to them, is not just from an investment standpoint, but a tax strategy as well, right? Because you mentioned it earlier, there's so many CPAs out there that are tax filers, but not tax strategists,
That's right.
So when you come into the end of the year, they're like, okay, well, let me run it through my systems. Here's what you owe, write the IRS a check, right? And there's zero strategy to say like, well, what could I have done for the past 12 months to reduce that and actually save some money for my family, right? And there's all kinds of strategies in there. You just have to dive deep in the tax code. The downside is a lot of times it makes the CPA's life a little more difficult in that tax season time.
Or they tell you go buy some trucks, go spend some money at the end of the year because you're going to pay tax on it. Like, okay, this is my absolute favorite. You want to lose money your first 3 years. Any account that tells you that, just thank him, shake his hand, and head out the door. Okay, like don't deal with that person at all. Okay, that guy, I don't know who he's helping. I mean, I get it. CPAs are about compliance.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so they want their little numbers to line up and save you what. But that, if you ever hear that statement, that used to be really popular. 100%. I don't think it was oh my goodness, just run. Do not walk, just run. Fire up the car and head down the road like you got to. Whoa, call Austin. I don't know, man. It's like I hear those things even when I knew nothing. Okay, like nothing. Like I only know I build great things and make money. In the first few years, I kept hearing that. Yeah. And I'm like,
that's wild.
I don't get it. And they keep telling you that's how the rich people do it. I go, I don't believe that. Yeah. I don't believe rich people are losing money. I'm no genius. I barely graduated high school, but like I get that math. Okay, yeah. I understand that basic math. Like I understand. So like something's wrong here.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go.
Math, math.
Yeah, it's not math. So I think I did better than they did, even though I whatever. But yeah, really, that's good stuff. And the tax strategy thing is a really, really big point, Austin, because it's just with it, it's deferring, it's keeping as much as you can legally keep.
That's right.
That's what tax strategy is in a nutshell, right? And who doesn't want to do that?
That's exactly right.
And I'll tell you what, as a business owner, as a family man, okay, that is your responsibility.
100%.
You
That's right.
cannot be letting that go to big Uncle Sam.
That's exactly right.
Okay. That is your obligation because that can be multiples in
Yep.
money.
Yep.
You're talking, 5 and 6 figure stuff.
Oh, 100%. So
Like,
here's the beautiful thing about this, Richard. If you start thinking about this, let's say you're doing well in profit as an early on business. And let's say you just get in the habit of writing the IRS a 50,000 plus check
mm,
at the end of every year because it's like, well, I made, 200 grand in profit, quarter or third of that, whatever gets to the IRS. And that's just the normal way we've always thought.
mhm,
But if you can do some tax strategy throughout the year to reduce that 50,000, and now you put that 50,000, even if you just put it into the S&P and you do
mhm,
that 10 years in a row, all of a sudden you got $1 million in your bank account that you didn't even realize because you just strategized a little differently early on rather than just getting used to writing that $50,000 check to the IRS every year. And that's when you can start compounding wealth for your family. Because think about any business owner, they're like, okay, I'm going to quit my W-2 to start my own business. And most people use the word like, I'm going to do it for freedom and be my own boss and work less hours. None of that's true, by the way.
none of it happens. None of it happens.
But one of the things that they really want is to like make more money than they were possibly making in a W-2 to provide a better life for their family and their kids and what they want to do with their life, right? And so this is a massive strategy to do that, to say like, how can we legally, right, walk through the IRS codes? Because if you think about the way America's built and the IRS codes, all those pages, they're incentivizing business owners to start businesses because all of these codes are beneficial from a tax standpoint to start a business. And so when you can really start leveraging those things, you can start building true wealth for your family. It's a fun game to play.
Yeah. They get the negative side of, oh, they got these tax loopholes. I go, it's not a loophole, it's in the tax code.
Yeah, it's a code.
You make like I'm sneaking around and bending something. I'm like, it's in the code. It's like 70,000 pages. Did you read them all?
Yeah.
Okay, probably not. Okay. It's like, so it is so important you say this because people have to get this. Even my kids who are, upper teens now and stuff, they're putting little bits in investment, right? They got apps, they're putting stuff in, what they spread out. Hey, it's $10 here, it's $20 there, it's $50 there. Well, you start to 18, now it's 500 a month. Okay, they're working at 500 a month. They're putting away 500 a month in investments. Like you
Yep.
said, just a standard S&P like at 18 and that compounding, oh my gosh, they're going to be,
Oh,
you guys are going to be set.
oh,
You know,
100%.
I mean, it's amazing what you can do, but you have to have the foresight and the discipline now.
Discipline. That's right. Discipline.
It's
Yeah.
so hard in the new business because you want to grow fast, and that usually requires capital.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's the discipline to tether that ambition.
Yep.
Okay. And I mean ambition in the bad way. The best way I ever heard it was some friends of mine describe it as ambition makes a great passenger. It's a horrible driver.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ambition needs to stay in the passenger seat. You need to drive the car because it'll take you off the like. So we want to be, we want to drive, we want to do stuff, but the money aspect is the discipline you have to create in yourself. No one's born with it.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. It's just taught,
Yep.
how to do it. And you have to have strategy to make this work. And it needs to be in your top 3 from a business standpoint.
100%. And once again, it kind of goes back a little bit to some people will never make the decision until they truly feel the pain. But hopefully, they can stay ahead of the game by maybe not feeling as much pain if they just build the discipline early, right? And so you're exactly right.
Yeah, yeah. My saying, I told me, if I just had the money I lost,
Yeah.
good to go. So it's just, and here's the great thing. I always tell people, yeah, I've been around a while. I've been an entrepreneur for 35 years. Like, there's no excuse today.
Yeah.
Even down to the simple thing about the fees for the banking. You don't have to have those. Okay.
Yeah.
But like, you could get a coach and an expert with a snap of a finger. We didn't have any of that back in the day. There was no such thing.
That's right.
Like, there was like C-level high bluff coaches, charge $1 million a year, but you didn't have anyone who could just come in and help you with your business like this.
That's right.
It just didn't exist. You kind of had to figure it out.
Yep.
And do all that stuff. And here's an interesting thing about that. So we talk about QuickBooks, right? Everyone knows QuickBooks. Yeah, it's a great software accounting system and everything else. There's a commercial they have, and it's these business owners, okay, and they're talking about it's QuickBooks, and they're at a wedding, so they
Oh yeah.
got the photographer, right? They got the plumber, they got the caterer. Okay, here's the thing: what are all of those people doing? They're all doing the work.
That's right.
The
Yeah.
guy's fixing the pipe, they're
Yeah.
baking the cake, she's taking the picture. So like, I tell people, I go like, well, do you see what this? You see what they're telling you? You're This is actually your job, and it's actually not your job.
Yeah. That's
This
right.
is not your job to be
Yeah.
doing that and then the books. Okay,
Yep.
so it's messed up.
Yep.
I
That's
said, but
exactly right.
it's one of my critical thought exercises with my kids for homeschooling. Because we
Okay.
homeschool our kids, so I'm like, you see that? And I walk them through the commercials like that. That's where I have the most fun. Just watch this. See that? Now, what's that actually telling you?
Yeah.
Right? It's
I
not
love
to
that.
grow a business that runs itself, not
Yep.
to hire experts and do stuff who are way better. You don't know anything about money.
Yeah. That's such a
About
Richard.
money.
I love that you're teaching that to your kids. That is a beautiful thing because you've probably heard of the book Who Not How. You might have read it, but that's the whole concept, right? It's like
Yeah.
rather than every time you run into an issue that needs to be solved, especially as a business owner, rather than think, how do I solve this problem? Think, who can help me solve this problem?
Mhm.
Because when you do that, and he talked about this in the book, there's this beautiful thing where when you invite somebody into solving a problem, collaborating together, now accountability is a thing rather than just, oh, this is the one problem I have to solve and I'm just going to push it down the wayside for 10 years and never look at it.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
accountability comes into place. And then the level of achievement is raised as well because there's two people, two heads are better than one, right? So it's like this concept where you're like, oh shoot. And so we try to be the who for the financial side. So everybody else that's in the how, doing the plumbing, doing the HVAC can stay in their lane to make as much money as possible.
That's right. I call it time compression.
Yeah.
That's what it is. When you engage that person, that expert, just like me, I'll put 10 years into one.
Yeah.
I will save you so many mistakes and problems and wrong directions and missteps and everything else you can imagine because
Yeah.
I already did all those.
Yeah.
I already did all those wrong things.
Yeah.
So if you'll just be open to listening, you're going to do them because that's why I wrote my book, Oscar. Because everyone was doing the same wrong things.
Yeah.
Every business I talk to, because they want me to help them, I'm like, oh. So now our joke is, hey, look at that. They're all doing the right, wrong things. Help them. We can help them easy, because they do tend to repeat all the same thing, So it's just patterns. All this stuff is, and
100%.
and the money one is the big one. It's pretty much you're a unicorn if that's your focus when you start a business.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's unusual. If you do, it's because you're like buying a business,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And you're being a business owner from the get go.
That's right.
Different animal, but you probably already made your mistakes before.
Yeah. 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 That's
Just
right.
learn now, so you're in a different place, right? So
Yeah. That's a great point. And to the money thing, Richard, one of the things hopefully this will serve some people in the audience, but like one of the easiest, in my opinion, ways to immediately try to fix the money problem is when do you get paid for the work that you do? The hardest thing to me, and I just hate this about the industry standards in the service-based industry, is I work, I pay my people, I pay my subs, I pay everything out, and then maybe one day I collect that money for all the things that I did, right?
yeah.
And you have to reverse that, right?
Yep.
It's like, so if you have standards in your business, and once again, it takes a little bit, you can't happen tomorrow, right? You have to introduce this to your customers, introduce it to new customers as they come in. But you can solve so many pain points in your business. And you mentioned this earlier. It's like in startup mode, so many times you either like, you got to have cash, so it's hard to become profitable and all the things to like, as you're trajecting out to grow where you want to grow. But simple tweaks in the AR process, accounts receivable process, can help you so much. Sleep at night, have better cash in your bank because you're getting paid before you're having to pay out. And so it's those disciplines I think you got to get back to early on that can just make a world of difference. So you're not wide awake at night every night thinking, how the heck am I going to make payroll happen?
Yeah, it's astounding when I work with businesses how much outlay of cash they're doing with nothing coming in, waiting to get done. I go, is this like, do you feel guilty? Like, do you feel guilty? Like you shouldn't be paid a dime until you finish the whole Like, who made that rule?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, like I did it out of necessity. I'm a startup. I had a wheelbarrow and a shovel. Okay, that's what I got. Okay, so if I got to buy, $5 grand worth of stuff, I go, well, I need $5 grand.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I'll charge them 10 and give me 5 up front. And I'll
Yeah.
get 5 when I get, so at least my materials are covered.
That's right.
I'll work. I mean, that's the most rudimentary thing you can do. But I
Yeah.
think so many times with that, it is all about that cash flow. That's what cripples the business because
Yep.
they said payroll comes around, it never misses. Talk about
Yep.
getting paid. We always cut ourselves out of the equation as the owner. We're last to get paid. Completely
Exactly.
wrong. Should be first.
100%. Yep.
Taking the most risk. Okay, living, sleeping it, eating it, breathing it, sacrificing our family a lot of
Yep.
times. So you shouldn't, but you do, right? For all of this to not get paid.
Exactly.
I mean, it's just you got to sit back for a moment and let that sink in, marinate on that for a moment or two,
Yeah.
and go, "That's kind of messed up. I got in for freedom and profit and impact, and I got none of that. I'm not even getting paid. What have I done?" Okay, and that's why a lot of guys get out of it, though. That's why they fail.
Yep.
That's the reason they fail. Is because they're not managing their cash flow.
Yeah.
I'll give you a good example too, Austin. Like, guys in the trades and contractors, they start taking on too many jobs, starting too many jobs. Now they're putting all their money into materials, right? And they're sitting there. No jobs getting completed because they can't get to 10 jobs at a time. They can only do
Yeah.
4. And it's really, I see that all the time. Like, you can't.
Yep.
People will wait. Okay.
Yes.
Cash flow, man. Cash flow is king. You got to have,
It
like
is
you said,
absolutely
it's
true.
just, oh, and you have to, I think I think you need to live through the misery of not having any to
Yeah.
finally wake up. Like you said, when the pain gets to the right point, but just know there's actually a really simple fix, right?
That's right. Yeah. It's so true. And I think, yeah, if people can implement that early on and just get customers to once you set, like if you clearly describe how your process works and you're very articulate to a customer about that, most will understand and are willing to pay on your terms if
Mm-hmm.
you can clearly articulate it versus just like, oh, we'll be there tomorrow and knock it out. And then 30 days later, you haven't been paid and you're calling them up trying to say like, hey, can you pay our check? I'll come by and collect it and all this kind of stuff. So the whole AR collecting checks thing is just, it's mind blowing how archaic it kind of is when you think about us living in 2025 and the technology that's out there to do automated bill pay and all these different things. So anyway, that's one thing. And then the second thing I was going to mention too, Richard, that hopefully will help some people as well, is pricing is so critical to this. Like you
Mm-hmm.
got to have a formula to be able to understand pricing. And here's the thing that I think trips so many people up. Most people price their stuff based on what the market says they should price it on, not based off of what margins they want to make in their business.
Preach, preach. Try to tell people this all the time.
And so when you force yourself to say, no, I have a formula that predicts my pricing and this is what it is, what people don't realize is that who cares if 40 or maybe even 50% of those potential customers say no because of pricing? Because when your pricing is accurate, the people that do say it, they're going to be better customers. You're going to make more margin on it. It's going to give you better creativity to wow them better, which ultimately is going to refer you more business, right? And so when you operate with margins, it gives you that capability. Because if I just lay it out plain and flat, if you're making like $100 a customer on 100 customers, right, and then all of a sudden you double their prices to everybody, and even if 50% of them leave, you're still making the same money
Mm-hmm.
because you doubled the prices with way less of the headache because you're less customers that you're dealing with, all that kind of stuff. So you just got to look at the equation of what that looks like and understand like what game do you want to play to create the margins that you want to make.
Yeah, I tell people too, I talk about this with discounting. I
Yeah,
said, we
yeah,
don't discount. If you discount ever, I will come find you
yeah.
and you'll get the Richard throat hug, okay, till you're unconscious. All right. Because it's
Yep.
just like you said, $100, I'm selling a product for $100, cost me 70 to make it. I make $30. I do a 10% discount. Now I make $90, still cost me 70. Now I made a $20 profit. Guess what? I got to sell 33% more just to equal the same profit as before I gave them a discount. And nobody only discounts 10%.
Yep.
And then here's the best part. Studies have shown a discount doesn't affect someone's buying decision until you hit 40%.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So like this 10%, you're a charity.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like you're just giving money away for no reason because if you have to sell by discounting, your model's broken.
Yeah, 100%.
You're not delivering value. That's a whole nother show.
Yep.
Okay. When you got to do that, but never you now I give people discounts when I take stuff out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, I can save you some. You betcha. I'll just take this out and that out. Good to go. All right. We good now? Let's
Yep.
do it. Well, I
Yep.
want that. Oh, well, then that's the $100.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I'll get that. All right, great. Everyone's happy. So it's those little things like that, just like time eaters on a job. I always tell people, we get out there, we got machines, we're digging holes or building water features, and hey, while you're here, could you take out those stumps or tear those bushes out for us? And I learned a long time ago, I learned the greatest saying ever. I went, absolutely. Give me 5 minutes, I'll take a look and I'll tell you how much more it's going to be. And then smile at them. And they're either going to say, oh, I just thought well, you understand. We're focused on the real project here. We want to make this absolutely amazing for you. That's a distraction, and take us off this job. And they're like, oh, no, I got okay. Or they'll say, give me a price.
Yeah.
It's a win-win.
Love that.
Anyone listening, just memorize, it'll change your life.
Yes.
Because they'll always have you do the thing while you're here, while you're going that way. Like, oh, yeah, it's a killer. But that's a time thing too, right? So time is valuable when you're looking at this stuff like that. Okay, I'll take my guys 30 minutes or take an hour. Well, times 4 guys.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's $100 I just lost to give you a free bush removal.
Yeah.
Okay, no.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's so common. And I'm telling you, you're exactly right. I love that phrase so much because that can save people so much headache along the way. And it's a discipline to say, like, no, I'm staying focused on the job at hand. If you want other things, it's the whole scope creep, that we talk about in accounting. Same thing. It's like, well, if you want us to do extra work, sure, we can do extra work for you, but I got to give you a price on that. We're just not going to do it for free because that's labor hours that the business owner's paying for,
That's right.
That's super good.
Yeah, it's really all of this, just again, the financial discipline, I think just from what we've talked about so far, Austin, is you see how it permeates everything in your business.
Mm-hmm.
This money thing, the silly money thing, okay, really affects everything that you do. I mean, just the Bush example, 4 guys, 1 hour. That's 4 hours, and that could be OT.
Yeah, oh yeah.
4 at time and a half. Okay, that's a lot for free bush removal.
Yep, 100%.
Okay, so I mean, people, they're not looking at that. I have manufacturing clients as well, and they'll do overtime. And you know what? They have 35 guys on the shop floor. Okay. It's 1 hour a day for 5 days. That's overtime. Yeah. But it's times 35. That's the 35-hour increase every day for 5 days. Man, that you get a lot done.
Yeah.
But everyone only works 1 hour.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to be able to run these numbers in your head.
Oh, 100%.
Doesn't mean you have to be just this total time cop about. I ended up doing what I did because we traveled a lot. You're always driving a half hour to an hour to get to a job site, and you got to pay the guys. They don't get to be in the truck, and you don't get to not pay them. It's the law. Go ahead and have an accident and see what happens. Okay, so I'm like, well, let's do this. We're gonna do 55 hours a week. You're going to get 15 hours a week, Monday through Friday, 15 hours a week, time and a half. That's how we're going to roll. You have weekends off. Man, the productivity, because we were doing like 6 days and all this kind of stuff, the productivity went through the roof. The guys were super happy because they only had like Sunday to shop and get cleaned up, do their laundry, right? Stuff like that. So kind of cool, but you find these ways around. But now I was able to factor that 15 time and a half for my 3 or 4 guys into my pricing.
Yep.
That's a constant now. It's not we got to hurry up and we got to spend 3 extra hours to get done. Now that affects my margin. So I built it into my pricing structure so that I'm good to go. Right. Yeah. My and I want to share some of we talk about these sayings. I heard from a client of mine who heard it from someone else, a friend of his or an uncle of his or something, but it was really good. He's talking, when we're talking about pricing and deposits and cash flow. Yeah. I love this. He goes, well, when the people, they kind of balk on the deposit or whatever it's going to be, right? They're going to put a certain percentage down. And then he says, well, see, I promised my wife I'll never do my business with her money. He said, I'll never build your home with my wife's money. And they just, that's a good one. I was like, I promised my wife I won't build your home with her money, and it's like, the conversation's over, right? It's beautiful. I'm like, dude, I got to use that one. I got to share that one all over the place.
It's so great. And I love that, Richard, because like the way I like thinking about it is that I've heard this said too, like don't be the bank for your clients, right?
That's
When
it.
you let people get 60, 90 days to pay you, you're giving
Mm.
them interest-free
Hmm.
loans
Yep.
for a 90-day period for stuff you've already paid out for. And that is just backwards way of doing things. So same concept. I love that.
Yeah, I had progress payments. We did our stuff pretty fast. I do these, $100,000,
Yeah.
150,000. That might take us a week sometimes.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, we get 50%. And then I'm like, progress payments.
Yeah.
But it's only going to take you a week. Yeah, I need progress payments.
Yeah.
So every other day, when Jesus gets here, we're going to need this much. So you can just leave it in an envelope on the door. We'll be there at
Yep.
7 a.m. But I just want to let you know that if it's not there, we're going to have to leave and we don't come right back. We go to another
Yeah.
job and begin that. So I just want, it's all good faith, right? We're completing work, we're getting paid. And that was hard to do in the beginning
Yeah.
because it takes a little courage.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
But it works.
Yeah.
And when you do leave, oh, yes, you have an angry client, but you told them, and you deal with that. But it really helped us manage our cash flow.
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
And so I'll just go back to setting expectations from the very first conversation. If you have the ability to do that, and I think people appreciate that when you're pursuing excellence in your field of whatever you're creating, you have standards that you live by to live out this excellence and provide a good service or whatever it is. And so when you set the expectations early on to be like, no, this is going to be a week-long project and we will get it done in a week. It's not going to be a week turned into 8 weeks.
right.
We'll get it done in a week. But in order for us to do that and pay our people well, we need payments on these X days, right? And if you just set all that from the stage from the get-go, I think people are more willing to be like, oh, these people are good. They know what they're doing. They're systemized business. So I'm going to appreciate the product that they're going to deliver.
That's exactly what it is. People have a confidence, they'll have confidence in your confidence.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So it's,
Yeah,
it's just
right.
like, you understand, you come on, boom, this is how it works, lay it all out and everything. And it flows. But like you said it though, you have to have the congruency of completing the work.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
Got to be on point.
Or if you set those standards and then you break your own standards,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah. Then
yeah,
you're going to get nothing, but it really is, I never had almost never out of probably 1,000 water features I built, I think over 1,000, maybe a small handful of people would balk a little bit, but I had the response right away. And it's like, oh, okay. But most people just write a check.
yeah,
I mean, it's a $250,000 job. Here's $125,000. When do you start?
yeah.
I mean, like you get, depends, you get to these levels where you're working with people and they, it's just a standard operating procedure
That's right.
because everyone does it. So going back on that little point too, when you talked about charging, what to charge, like
Mhm.
you have a system and everything else, this is really important. We can kind of dive into this a little bit more. What I always told people is like, okay, I'm going to use something really simple. You're a carpet cleaner. Okay. And everybody's doing $99 a room or whatever. That's what people charge. I go, is that what you're going to charge? You're starting business. Well, yeah, that's what everyone charges. Well, why don't you charge 200? I can't. Everyone else charges 99. So are you everyone else? No. What do
That's
you
right.
bring in that's worth $200? Well, I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
Like it's not hard to figure out. You can do half the work for the same amount of money.
that's right.
They're out hustling. They're racing to the bottom.
That's exactly right.
Pricing is a huge pinch point for businesses.
Yep,
It's what destroys the business because they can't make their margin.
that's exactly right.
So let's talk about that a bit because like setting a margin that you want to operate, right? Like you probably do that a lot with these people, right? Figuring out what's the margin, and we'll break that down for you because there's a couple different things in margin. So let's
Yeah.
talk about that a little bit for everyone.
No, that's good. I fully agree with it. And once again, the key theme to the pricing for people to understand this is you don't need as much money, or sorry, as much customers to make the same amount of money that you provide for your family. And that's the beauty of pricing. So when people are like, well, if I got to be the 99 guy, then they're the ones bragging about revenue because they're bringing on all this money, but they're not making any money. Right.
Right.
And so that's what the way you got to think about it is that like you have margin in your calendar and margin in your finances when you have the ability to price and people say yes to that pricing, right? So you have to have a system behind it. But getting into your point about the margin side of it, obviously you have, top line revenue. And then a lot of people get confused, I think, between what gross profit is and what net profit is, right? So gross profit is literally just like, here's the money you received for the job. Here are all the direct costs that it took to complete that job, right? So it's like, here's the labor that it took, here's the materials that it took, here's, cost of goods is what they call it. to complete that job that gives you this gross profit number, right? And then underneath that gross profit number is all of your overhead indirect costs, vehicle repairs, all of your office expense, like overhead, admin expenses, all that kind of stuff is what it costs to actually like shareable expenses to get all of your business operationally done. That produces your net profit. So what we focus on actually, it could, because we specialize in the service-based industry, we try to reduce, sometimes these P&Ls could have 100 line items on it, right? And the last thing I want somebody that's not financially minded is to spend an hour being like, I just read every line item on the P&L. I don't even know what to even start with or what to look,
Right.
what direction do I even take? So we reduce those P&Ls down into like one or two key metrics. That's all you have to focus on. And almost always, Richard, is its labor efficiency ratio. Because we specialize in the service-based industry. And if you can get your labor right, then that means you can get your pricing right, which means you're going to get your profit margins right. So what we try to do is condense this down to say, like, every time you run payroll, you need to be producing X amount in revenue based off of that payroll. And if you're not, two things have to happen. You either reduce what you're paying out in payroll or you increase pricing to pay to justify the payroll. And so when you can get that number right, we back that into what you want your profit percentage to be at the very bottom of the business. So that's that actual take home pay that you're taking. And of course, there's other factors that go into loans and different things, right? But like overall, we're trying to show people like this is how you get that profit margin. And 9 times out of 10 in the industries that we serve, it's just getting that labor honed in and you just get into a rhythm of that. So if you're paying payroll every Friday, you need to know what revenue did that payroll just create for our business. Or if you're running every other Friday or whatever your payroll schedule looks like, you need to know from a utilization rate of that labor, what is that labor producing for your business? And is it on track or off track based on a multiple of that?
Yeah, this is incredibly important because I see so many businesses, they hire, they want to do more jobs, so they hire more people and they haven't run the numbers.
Yeah.
They just think they got more jobs, it'll be the same.
Yeah.
It's not.
That's
And
right.
it's really like I had a client and he's doing a couple million a year and okay, we're struggling, want to do more, but I'm kind of the money, I'm not kind of understanding where the profit is. I go, well, you want me to save you some money really quick? And he goes, sure. I go, you have 12 people working for you, right? And he goes, yep. I go, did 2 million last year. Okay. How many people do you think you should have working for you? Okay. And he doesn't, I go, 8. Okay. 8. There's 4 guys. Now, do you know the 4 guys you get rid of? He goes, oh yeah. Okay. No hesitation, right? No, I go, okay. And if you did it tomorrow, how much would you save in a year? And he goes, about 200,000. Oh, and the way you're paying your guys, which is, I'm not even going to get into that. I'm like, if you fix that we've talked about, well, how much more would that give you? Well, probably about 50,000 a year. Look at a minute 33 seconds. I got 250,000. We put in pure profit.
Yeah.
That starts next payroll cycle.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's like, oh, I go, problem solved. Coaching paid for. Okay. I'm like, but you know what I mean? People don't think that way, and it will just grind your business down, and you're feeling all this is where the ego comes in. Man, I'm feeding families, I'm supporting these guys. They're on the team, and I get it, man. I love it. I love that heart.
Yeah.
But it's foolish.
Yeah.
Okay? You don't need them. You don't need those. You're not being efficient, just like you're saying to your point. I just want to drive this home because this I see it in big companies. I go in and save them $4 million like my first week.
Yeah.
Like, poof, they're gone. Okay.
Yeah.
Get rid of them $4 million every year. That's a $20 million savings over the next 4 years. That's pretty good. 5 years,
Yeah.
So I'm like, you start thinking about this and play with big numbers.
Yeah.
So you get like excited, then come down to your numbers and go, well, it's the same thing.
Actually, I like that idea. It's good. Yeah.
It's just, but man, I'm telling you, payroll is, I dubbed my guys, we had like in the heat of the main portion, we had 3 guys. I automated everything with machines, everything else we're doing, right? We were the special forces of water feature building. We could do it with 3 guys in the right machines, but other companies would take 30 days.
Wow.
We could do it in 2 days, 3 days. We were that efficient, and I had to be, but then I was able to grow my margins, and now I had that consistent payroll. We weren't putting on people. I weren't looking for people, you know. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of attention that I know this is going off down a little rabbit hole here, but the point being the also on price increasing. Okay, when people say I can't raise my prices, well, you can.
Yeah, you can.
Remember when you do. So if you go from, I always use this example. I love fitness. I'm at the gym. If your gym membership, you got a gym, and you got whatever 600 members of the gym, and they're paying $60 a month. Okay, and you want to raise the prices, and you're going to raise them to $64 a month. Okay, and you're like, oh, but I go, how many people are going to quit? Okay, how many people are going to have to quit till you're like losing money?
That's exactly right.
It's something like, I forgot what it is, 64 people, 15 hours, 64 people have to leave to make you the same price that you were at $60.
That's right.
So you can lose 64 people and still be making the same money, to go back to your point, but you're not going to lose 64 people because you're going to be driving value and everything else. But this is going to give you $1,200 additional pure profit every month.
Yeah, 100%.
$4 increase. Like, you got to think profit and cost cutting.
Yeah, that's
You
exactly
cut
right.
cost, pure profit.
Yep.
Like, off the you get rid of them 4 guys, you just put $250,000 in your pocket. Like, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Like, that's a big take home.
Yeah,
Okay?
absolutely.
It's like,
And
winner,
honestly,
winner.
and Richard, a good way to kind of quickly gauge this is if you don't have customers that are saying no because of your pricing is too low,
Bam.
right? You have to have those people. Like, you don't want everybody to say, "Oh yeah, when can you start?" Because that
Yeah.
means you're vastly underestimating your pricing.
Austin, I kept raising my prices. And I can say this now because I'm not in the business anymore. I haven't been in 16 years. I was at a 300% margin on my stuff, right? Building the
Love
beautiful
that.
things. You know what? No one ever said I charge too much. You know what they said? You need to charge more.
Love that.
And I'm like, well, now that yours is done, I see you say that.
Yeah.
But the outcome in
Yeah.
the service of how we did what we did, everything else we had put together in that package delivery, right, was like no one ever said they. I mean, 1,000 water features, 20
Yeah.
years. You know what I mean? Like that. To your point, people have to gain this confidence.
That's right.
They have to build a business that delivers high value.
Yep.
Go for the elite. Listen, I'm just telling you, there's guys going to scrape the bottom forever. They're going to race there. That's where they want to play. Let them play.
Yep.
You know, just you got to start somewhere. Then your goal is to keep raising that price, like you said, so people start saying no.
Yeah.
Then you back it off and you kill it.
That's right. That's
And
exactly right.
and it's beautiful. And you'd be like, wow, I can do 4 jobs at a time instead of 12. This is pretty cool.
Yeah.
We can go to the beach. We can go to the beach and hang out. And they don't need me. It's just like that's what we want to do, right? And I think that in the big picture of this whole conversation, Austin, I think like we mentioned earlier, how the money, the financial end permeates the entire business.
Mhm.
It has an effect on your family. And I
Yeah.
always tell people too that security is the number one human core need.
Yeah.
And if you're a man and you have a wife and kid, trust me, your wife is all about the security. And you can have all the ARs you want around the house, but until you bring it home the green, okay, like the security's in the money. I'm just saying, like they can't like. Are we going to have enough to make the mortgage?
That's right.
Don't live that way. Don't
Yeah.
have a business having to live that way. If you are, hire Austin. Okay, like you got to get this stuff squared away, man. It's a responsibility as a well, I can speak from the man as a man, as a
Yep.
business owner. This is your responsibility. You have a family, and this is a priority because you did build a business to take care of your family, to have that freedom, to have the time making. But you're not gonna unless you price properly. If you
Yep.
dial in your money, right? And I'm not
So
putting
true.
words in your mouth, but man, this is what a great conversation.
Very well said, Richard. I love this stuff.
Yeah, it's great. It really is great. So let's do some final takeaways. Okay, kind of wrap us up here with some big ideas or whatever you got
Yeah.
for people to encourage them, and we'll kind of let them know how to get a hold of you and everything else too.
Yeah, I love that. I think the last comment I'll make just to creating margin and operating with profit is that you made a comment earlier, Richard, where you said like, hey, for the guys that really feel like well of themselves because they're able to hire more people, even though they're not making money in their business, you have to flip the script on that because when you actually operate with margin in your business, that means you can treat your customers better, but more importantly, treat your employees better. You can give them bonuses that you never dreamed about because now you have margin in the business to go do that. You're 1,000% less stressed because your wife is happy because there's green in the house. But then also, like, you're able to lead in a better way because you're more confident in the margin that you have in your business. So rather than play the charity case of saying, like, oh, look at all the people that I'm able to hire, when you're stressed out, you're not a good boss to work for, right?
Nope.
So margin has this ability to not, like, here's what kind of our mission is. Like, if we can help business owners become more profitable in their business, that means that the people that show up to work for those business owners, because they steward people's lives that show up for that place of business, they now are able to treat them better. And when those people that are showing up for their workplaces go back to their homes, they can treat their families better. So now, because we help people become more profitable, all of a sudden that stems all the way down to families changing and communities changing because there's healthy families, and healthy families change communities, right? And it's this beautiful thing through the lens of accounting and finance that we get to help people do with margin in their life from a financial perspective. So it's a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, I mean, we're totally aligned. I say exactly the same thing because I want to bring profit, freedom, and impact to business owners, right? And you got to have the profit to do the other two,
Yep.
freedom and impact. But
That's
just like
true.
you said, you can treat your people well. You make them better as people, not just more competent as workers. They take it home, their families in the community. So if I always tell people, if I can help 10,000 business owners do that, that's helping millions of people.
Absolutely. The spider web
Family,
effect.
yeah,
Massive.
right. So yeah, who knew? See, you don't know, doing the same thing. Well, 2 million people we're going to help.
I
But
love it.
I just, and one last thing on margin, because I know we're talking money. I think another thing in margin that people have to understand is margin in your time,
Yeah.
margin in your life. What profit gives you? Okay, you got standard of living, you got quality of living. Standard of living, I make more, I spend more.
Yep.
Not the way to live.
Yep.
Okay, you don't need another boat.
That's exactly
Okay?
right.
You can only drive one at a time. Okay, but quality of living is time. You're buying time.
That's right.
Time with your family, kids, games, all that cool stuff. But that has to be like part of your margin equation.
Absolutely.
You know, if I can make more with I have this time. The business, automating the business, getting it to run itself, empowering these great employees to do the right thing, execute what you need to execute, and you're going to get that time.
Yep.
You know, like, and it's really, I don't want to end without saying that I know you feel this way too. Like
Yep.
it's really important, man. It's not all about the money. The money's our tool to achieve that time margin,
Yep.
to give us that time. And if you can put those two things together and someone's on the same page with you, whether creating this financial literacy in this program and going forward, man, it's a game changer in a really, really big way for you. And you'll actually enjoy having the business.
Yeah, I love it. But so Richard, one comment on that. We could talk for another 4 hours just on this one concept. So the greatest book that I have read on this topic, it's called Buy Back Your Time. The guy named Dan Martell wrote it. I've studied this book for the past year and a half or so. It's been like I used to be an avid reader, and now I just said, like, this one book, I'm just going to reread and study it and implement and reread and study. And the whole concept is, don't hire people to grow your business. Hire people to buy back your time.
Yep.
Because it's the best lever that you can pull from all the stuff that you don't need to be doing in your business that creates the most value for your business, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the concept, it's a calendar over capacity standpoint. So like you said, I love it so much, Richard. Money is simply a tool.
Yep.
And it can be used to buy back your time. It could be used for goods. It could be used for all kinds of stuff. But the way business owners have to think about money is that it's a tool to give them more time to create greater value. And when you can do that, man, you ultimately build this business that you love going to, showing up on Monday, fired up for the week. And it's just a beautiful thing. And your employees feel that, right? The people that you have stewarding in your business, they feel that. And it's just, yeah, very important. So I love that concept.
Yeah, we have a thing, Austin. We say our goal is to get the owner to work on only 5% of the business that only they can do.
That's awesome.
That's their goal. Everything else, we're talking vision, growth, stuff like that. The really important stuff that they need bandwidth for.
Yep.
So if it's not in their 5%, they don't do it.
So good.
Whatever that is, man. And that is the same principle, right? They're buying that margin, getting that stuff. That's where they're going to be most effective because they don't want to do accounting.
Yeah, absolutely.
They don't want to send payables. They don't want to do any of that stuff. Okay, I guarantee you. Okay. They might like what they physically do. Like I like placing rocks and everything else and doing steel sculpture. That's doing, right? Only I can do that.
That's right.
Right? That was part of my 5%, but
Yeah.
everything else I need other people to do, and then and it just kind of wraps it all together. We just kind of put numbers on it, but this has just been awesome. Austin, how can people get in touch with you? You got anything for them? I know, I mean, if I love having guests I truly want to recommend because the importance of what they do for the business. There's a lot of foo-foo stuff, and I'm not knocking any of the people. I have a lot of great people on my thing, but some people are a little, you got to be at the foo-foo level. Oh, let me go work on, I want to go to be a vision guy and sit on a mountain somewhere and think. But I'm talking about like, we need to make a real difference. Okay. Like we got problems here. Let's fix these real problems and get us where we want to go. So I love that kind of stuff. So how do people reach out to you?
Yeah, so social media is the best place. In fact, I'm only on Instagram. I'm actually brand new to social media. I was off of it for basically my whole life, but I've realized it's the best lever I can pull to try to have reach that we want to have inside of what we're doing in Flywheel Financial. So Austin D. McMillan is my Instagram handle. So feel free to go find me on there. And in fact, Richard, we've actually created those bank accounts that we talked about earlier. I created a literally step-by-step PDF of here's what you need to say to your banker when you give them a call. These are the different accounts that you need to set up. Here's the rhythm of your business that you need to start from day one to go do that. And so if anybody just messaged me the word profit on Instagram, I'll send you that PDF directly. I actually have a video that walks you through that process as well. Because we honestly, Rich, I'm trying to add value through the lens of Instagram so that any service-based business owner that runs across it will, like, regardless if you ever work for us or not, you'll still get value from it of what to implement from a financial standpoint in that world. So happy to do that.
And listen, it's not a matter of employees. It's just like gross revenue.
That's right.
As a coach, as a consultant, you can make some serious bank.
Yeah.
Okay. With like really low overhead. You can have some really high margins. It's a beautiful thing. It's work, everything else, but I don't need 20 people working for me.
Yeah.
To pretend I have a business.
Yeah.
Okay? Like I bring high value. I get results. I'm laser fucking do stuff. I've got the right people in the right places to build. So yeah, don't get caught up in that. It's like having a lot of trucks, having a lot of real estate, having all these places, more stores or whatever it is, man. You got just take a word of caution from guys who've been there. Like that's not what's important. They may be part of the plan.
Yeah.
But when you run real numbers, you'll find a lot of that stuff is it's not really the way to go. You can have a much happier and profitable life by not chasing those kind of numbers.
100%. Such a great way to put it.
Awesome. Austin, what a great conversation. I knew it would be, and I appreciate you taking the time today. This has been just fantastic. And for everyone else, we'll see you on the next STS podcast. Thanks for tuning in to Sharpen the Spear podcast. If today's episode helped you think sharper, act smarter, or see new profit potential, do me a favor. Share it with a fellow home service owner and leave a quick review. Ready to find the profit hiding in your business? Head to sharpenthespearcoaching.com and book your free profit discovery call today. And until next time, keep sharpening.